looking back at your amateur career and with your professional career, let's say there is a billboard on the road and you have to leave a quote there. It can be someone else's quote or something that you can say or something, just your thoughts. You have to put something on that billboard so that people can see. What would you put there for people to see that that kind of relates to you?
Relates to me. This is the kind of quote that's funny. It's a Frank Sinatra quote, but from one of his songs, each time I find myself flat on my face, I pick myself up and get back in the race. And the reason why I like that quote is because I've been, through, just like a lot of athletes, a lot of bad injuries where you don't feel you're ever going to recover from it. When I tore my bicep, people said, even guys, millionaires that are professional athletes don't recover from a torn bicep, like a ruptured bicep like mine. My back injury, you're done. So every time I've kind of been down in the dumps when it comes to boxing, I always pick myself up and I keep going, because if it was easy, everyone would do it, and it's not easy. So you're going to go through things. I don't care who you are, what kind of an athlete you are. You're going to go through a lot of things that kind of set you back, test you physically or mentally, and you just got to push through them.
If we're talking about injuries or in general, let's say failures, maybe it's your failures of your body or something mentally or some situation that, you just couldn't pull through, but you actually gone through it. What would be the defining one that really kind of defined who you are and made you better?
Well, the one thing that comes to mind, so some of my fights are on YouTube. The funny thing is, my worst fights are the ones that are on YouTube. I don't know how that happened, but one of the fights, it was against Max Corso, the Argentinian guy. He's a southpaw from Argentina and had a rock hard head. So I've never had a hand injury in my life. My hands are always like really tough. I could hit a wall and it wouldn't bother me, And then, in the second round of that fight with him, he came in with his head down. He put his head like that, and I broke my hand. I broke this knuckle. So not even up here in my hand where I heard if you break your hand up here, your hand heals. It's like a cast. You could throw it again after a round, right? My knuckle was gone. It broke in 3 different places. So it took like a year and a half before, like just recently, a couple months ago, I could actually hit my hardest for the first time. So that happened in the second round. And
did you feel it right away?
Right away.
You're like,
right away,
something's wrong.
Right away, I knew it, and I stopped throwing it. And I remember after the second round, I'm walking back to my corner. And when I was walking back to the corner, one of Lee Baxter's fighters, a friend of mine, Sam Vargas, he was right below right past the belt, the post. His heat was over there. He looks at me, he starts mimicking to throw my right hand. He's like, throw your right hand. I put my arm up, I go, it's broken. This is on my way back to the corner. And I had the whereabouts to know when I'm calm. I know it is what it is, and I'll get through it. So right away he looked and he's like, he just knew, right? Nobody in the crowd knew I broke my hand. After the fight, people would say, hey, Nick, good fight. You were being smart. You're being cautious. I showed them my hand, and I couldn't even go like this. Like, I couldn't even move my hand. And then, to be honest, like, that showed me a lot, because you're in with a pro fighter that's coming. He was a dirty fighter. He was coming forward. He was awkward. And I just had to do what I had to do to win. Like, fighting, I fought 6 rounds with a broken hand, like 6.5 rounds with a broken hand. I still won. So that kind of, it's like a test, you know what I mean? Like, can you go through it? Can you do something else? And again, like, just like everything, people don't know what you go through as a fighter. They don't know the full extent of what you go through.
Right.
And I'm not saying I had the hardest time, but other people, have gone through the same thing, and just a matter of how you deal with it. A lot of people could break their hand and then say, hey, I'm done.
What went through your head when you broke your hand at that particular moment? Because I'm curious what goes through a fighter's mind, because those are your main tools, and one of them, and it's your hitting head.
Yeah, it was crazy, because this sounds crazy, but even though I knew I shouldn't throw my right hand, you had to at some point throw your right hand, and I was trying my hardest to hit hard. And I'm a pretty strong puncher, and this is the first time in my life I felt like I was a little kid. I felt like I was throwing my hardest, but it came off like
closer to the mic.
Sorry, I was throwing my hardest, but it came off like a tap. Like my mind in the back of my head was pulling me back from throwing that shot.
Right.
As much as I wanted to will through it. And in the last round, 20 seconds left, you'll see the videos online, and I almost knocked him out. I was throwing as hard as I can, even though it was not hard, because I had, and I almost knocked him out, and I wish I did. But the good thing about that fight is people really said, when they found out that I fought the whole fight with a broken hand, all of a sudden it opened eyes. It's like, holy crap, like, this guy's not going anywhere.